Hey guys, it's me Cujo here with your PUBG tips and tricks. I'm gonna go over some techniques that help me get my chicken dinners, and I hope that it does the same for you guys on Xbox. First thing that you need to know right off of the bat is that PUBG is a situational game. Not every single round is gonna play out the same as far as locations, the way that you're fighting, and the way that the bubble comes in. The blue is the most important part of the game because once you get to the final stages of the game, if you're beyond that or get caught by it, you're going to get chunked by a lot of damage or it will actually kill you. So I'm going to go over the beginning, mid-game, as well as end-game. My first tip would be to jump into heavily populated areas first. Granted, you want to get a win right away, but getting wins comes with patience. My best recommendation would be to jump into highly populated areas and then duke it out. In the beginning part of PUBG, it's always the same. You're trying to loot up so you can make it towards the end game. Mid game is going to be the most downtime that you're going to spend in this game. So your action-packed rounds are going to be at the start of the game and towards the end of the game. The two most populated areas off of the bat are going to be the school and the military base. And the reason for this is because a lot of people like to practice there as well as get some good kills. And what I mean by practice is that they just want to get some kills off of the bat under their belt. PUBG is a one kill and it's game over, so it is risky. But if you have problems shooting or are not used to the learning curve with the guns, I recommend going to the school and the military base because you're going to get a good amount of guns. And at the same time, you're going to learn how to shoot some of the weapons and get some kills under your belt and get some confidence. The reason why you want to have confidence with the weapons is because once you get to the final circle, you're going to be shaken, you have all this adrenaline coming through you, and you're not used to shooting X particular weapon at this part of the stage of the game. Because every single decision you make at the end game is going to impact if you are victorious or not. So jump in early, get some kills, and I'll say this once, I'll say it again, I tell everybody this, you're going to get your best loot from killing enemies. Here's the reason why. You can go into a military base or the apartments over here in the east that you just saw in the video and get a lot of good loot, get a lot of good weapons. But then you always come across these players that are quote-unquote loot drunk. These are the players that don't care about the circle coming in on them and killing them. They just want to get every single item and do it. These types of players are what I like to call 2017 door opening simulator players. Because PUBG really is a door opening simulator. You are constantly going to be opening doors. So those guys are the best ones to get loot off of. They are the best because they'll have everything that you need. When you're in mid-game in PUBG, this is going to be the most downtime that you're going to have in the game. You have only a few scenarios that pop up. You either A, roll up on some people that are loot drunk like these guys. B, you're either outside of the circle running into the circle. C, you're either ahead of the circle and you're just waiting for it to close up to get the randoms that are running through the circle. You can be one of those three players, and it happens like that all the time. The way that I like to play is sometimes I like to play with the circle depending on where I'm located. Sometimes the circle is going to go against you and end up being on the complete other side of the map where you have to find a vehicle or you actually have to be constantly running to not get caught. I mean, if you're on the opposite side of the circle where it's closing in, you could easily just camp out somewhere and wait for the bubble to enclose and get the stragglers that are coming through. That's also a nice strategy to do. Or you can end up just looting crazy and make your way towards the end game. While you're out there scavenging in mid-game, the most important items to pick up would be a sight as well as a grip. 4x sights are the ones that you guys are going to want to go after. The 4x keeps everything at a nice distance, whether it be far away or close up. It doesn't feel overwhelming like the 8x, especially the 15x when you find it in a box. My personal preference is to go with a sniper rifle and or an assault rifle with a SMG. I feel that the SMGs are a little bit underrated since the Mini Uzi does do a lot of damage and stopping power, especially in closed corridors. When I'm all wide open, I like to use the Mini 14 over the SKS because the SKS, in my own opinion, feels it has too much recoil, even with an angled or vertical grip, which is supposed to give you better control. If you manage to get the SKS with the vertical grip, compensator, and the cheek pad, that does help slightly, but you still feel like you're trying to control a bucking bronco, while the Mini 14 just does a nice little laser shoot, and then when you end up putting the grip on there, it feels really nice. The recoil isn't super heavy, and then with the compensator, it feels like you're shooting a laser. When you're playing with squad mates, you guys want to make sure that you guys communicate as much as possible. Communication is one key to victory here in PUBG. Whether it be listening to teammates or just listening around and just describing where a particular player is, because you can hear people walking around. You need to be alert all times in order to stay alive, as well as keep your teammates alive. If your teammate needs a piece of equipment, give it to him. Don't be selfish. Remember, it's all about getting a chicken dinner, not about your own personal KD ratio. PTFO or GTFO. The end game of PUBG is probably the most stressful part or stressful situation you'll ever find yourself in your entire life. It all comes down to this. It's you versus the world, or your mates versus the world. Here we're in a situation where the bubble is actually in our favor. The bubble is just behind us, if you can see in the mini-map, and the larger circle that's going to enclose is where these guys are hiding out in the house. We kind of got screwed over because there's nowhere for us to hide behind this tree and the vehicle that's here to the left. So what we're doing is using the circle to our advantage to bait the players out. They have to come to us. They have to come this way. There's no other way that they can go. So we're using the ground cover to make our way over. I believe that they're probably healing now because just before, Doc was getting shot at. So I'm taking advantage of the terrain, just crawling all the way as far over as I can, and hopefully I'm just crossing my fingers that I get lucky. In about 6 seconds, the bubble is going to enclose, and you're going to see that enemy players have to rush. At this part of the game, the bubble will kill you if you're in there more than 2 seconds. You will die. It chunks all of your health out. Communication is key, and using the terrain to your advantage is also a huge factor to get that chicken dinner. You got to use everything, the grass, everything. Sometimes you might even have to sacrifice weapons on your back at the end of the circle because your weapons do stick out from out of the grass or hay barrel that you might be hiding in. So you'd have to get rid of a backpack, get rid of, you know, something else. I'll show you another scenario after this where you're stuck in the wide open and you're just using players to your advantage. Using enemy players to your advantage to get a victory is huge because if they're distracted on each other, they're not going to be distracted on you.
Fucking light 'em up, Doctor.
Yeah, chicken dinners, bitch! Chicken dinners!
Attaboy.
Here's another situational chicken dinner where I've been caught outside of the circle. My whole entire team has died and I'm trying to make my way into the circle to be in bounds. I just so happen to come in bounds right now, and there's 2 other teams in front of me that are duking it out in front of me. So I'm just trying to be patient and just let them fight it out so I can make it to the end game. Because I don't want to give up my position since I'm by myself. One thing is that in PUBG, you're probably not going to walk out of this game with 35, 40 kills. It's just not going to happen. If you want to win, you got to make it to the end game. And the end game is the most crucial part where you need to get kills. Nothing else matters until this point. So right now, I'm trying to boost up and take advantage because the circle is about to get even smaller here in a minute. The boosters will help me stay alive slightly longer than normal so that when the blue circle comes in and people start chunking, then I'm not going to be affected as bad as the next player that may have not boosted before the circle started closing in. At this point right here, I'm just waiting for any kind of movement so I can see where the players are, because I don't know where they are. I just know that they're in front of me. Guy lights a frag next to me. I think I'm going to die here. I just barely survived, so now it's just a healing game for me now. Now they're all duking it out. The action is towards each other. They don't even know where I'm at, so now I'm able to get into a killing position of whoever decides to stand up, because somebody will stand up and try to run out. It happens more often than most. Some people get impatient. This is where you have to be the most patient in PUBG, the most patient scenario. and then you get that chicken dinner. And when you get that chicken dinner, it's the most satisfying thing that will ever happen in your life. It doesn't matter what else has happened. You graduated from college, you did this and that, you just gave birth to a baby. None of that matters. None of that is as satisfying as getting a chicken dinner. I hope some of these strategies help you guys get that chicken dinner. My name's Cujo, PTFO or GTFO. I'm out.